I'm going to draw the most detailed drawing ever of X-Men 97 in 24 hours. This is going to be a lot of fun. But while you see me put this piece together, I thought it would be fun to give you some facts and knowledge about the original X-Men cartoon as well as X-Men 97. And let me tell you all about it. Let's go. X-Men 97 debuted on Disney Plus on March 20th, 2024 with 2 episodes, then was released weekly, and the initial run is 10 episodes. Now, though only a few episodes have been released, the series has already been renewed for its 2nd and 3rd season. The president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, had 2 conditions to do this show. The original voice cast had to return, and they needed to obtain the rights to the original theme music. X-Men 97 is a continuation of the X-Men animated series, and the last episode aired in 1997, hence the new series being called X-Men 97. This is the first Marvel Studios project to be under the Marvel Animation banner, and Marvel's very first X-Men project. However, this variation of X-Men didn't show up in Endgame or anything. X-Men 97 is not canon to the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, but serves as its own entity, as per its showrunner, Bo DeMeo. So then, which Earth is this? Well, the series takes place on Earth 92131 version of the Marvel Universe. It's the same universe as Spider-Man the Animated Series from 1994. Now, who doesn't love the X-Men opening credits, okay? Now, in X-Men 97, it updates the original opening credits, but it looks almost identical to the original version. Also, if you look at the closing credits, it's an homage to the original, where a 3D model and a brief description of every new X-Men member is shown, but now it's a 2D version. It's really, really cool. Now, the original X-Men animated series debuted on October 31st, 1992 as part of their Saturday morning lineup. It was originally supposed to air on Labor Day, but it was pushed due to production delays, as always happens. But this wasn't the first time that X-Men made a TV appearance in the cartoon form. It made its first TV appearance in 1966 on the Marvel superhero series Allies for Peace, which featured the original lineup of Cyclops, Beast, Marvel Girl, Angel, and Iceman. Now, the X-Men would appear again in 1981 and 1982 in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with Iceman being a star character, and the rest of the X-Men appearing from time to time. Also, a fun side note, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was one of my favorite cartoons, and that really inspired me to draw. Now, Pride of the X-Men was the original pilot episode that aired and developed in 1989. It wasn't picked up immediately, but one of the producers of the show became the head of Fox Kids and pushed for the series to be made. Now, the late great Stan the Man Lee, he did show great interest in the original X-Men animated series, despite it not being the lineup of characters he wanted. He wanted the original lineup from when the X-Men debuted in the comics. However, he did attend meetings and reviewed storyboards for 11 episodes before he stopped. Now, the lineup of X-Men in the original series were based off the designs of the legendary comic artist Jim Lee's X-Men run. Now, the Jim Lee drawn X-Men Volume 2 number 1 is the highest selling comic book of all time, and as of the recording of this video, it sits at 8.2 million copies sold. Now, the original lineup of the animated series was based off of the X-Men Blue Team. There were 2 teams, Blue and Gold. The Blue Team consisted of Cyclops, Wolverine, Beast, Gambit, Rogue, and Jubilee. Now, they cut out Psylocke, who was part of that Blue Team, but added back in Jean Grey and Storm. Now, when it comes to the animated series, Marvel Comics was consistently involved in that series for a few months, but then backed off as they saw the series progress, saw how good it was, and learned to trust the show's producers. That original animated series was awesome, okay? The most notable storylines actually came from the comics, including the Phoenix Saga, Days of Future Past, and the Legacy Virus. Now, here's a fun trivia point. The first round of voice actors they hired for the series, they were so bad, they were compared to a group of amateurs from high school, and then the entire cast was fired. But afterwards, a lot of the original voice actors were chosen from the Toronto theater community, including 4 major Shakespearean actors. I'm from Toronto. Now, Carl Dodd, who became the voice of Wolverine, was originally a jazz singer. The more you know. Now, most of the original voice actors who are still alive came back for the series. Now, the voice actor Carl Dodd, as I mentioned before, played Wolverine. Rogue, Lenore Zan, marks the first time voicing these characters in 24 years. And it's been 23 years for Beast, George Buza, Storm, Allison Seeley-Smith, and Nightcrawler, Adrian Huff. Now, Jennifer Hale, who voices Jean Grey in Phoenix, was not an original voice, but voiced her in various Marvel video games. Now, originally, Marvel didn't want Beast to be a part of the team. but the writers of the show loved him so much, so they had the character arrested right at the beginning so he could still be part of the show. But then at the end of the first season, a deal was struck with Marvel so he could be part of the team going forward. Now, when they put the animated series together, they wanted a kid to be a part of the lineup. And despite Kitty Pryde had such a storied history with the team in the comics, the producers opted to go with Jubilee, who was a newer character at the time. Now, the character Morph, who I actually don't draw in this piece, and I explain why a little bit later on, okay? But that character Morph was originally named Changeling in the comics. However, that name was trademarked by DC Comics. Changeling is Beast Boy in DC, so Marvel couldn't use the name in the series. Now, the reason Morph was added to the team was so that they could have a sympathetic character die in the first episode. However, the producers fought really hard to have the character die and made a compromise with the studios that the character would eventually return. Now, the animation process, it takes a long time. From script to animation, it takes about 20 weeks, and that doesn't include the addition of dialogue, music, and special effects. And you can definitely say X-Men the Animated Series was a hit. It was the #1 children's show after only 6 weeks on the air and #2 among teens. Now, who doesn't love that theme song? The iconic theme song was chosen out of 16 different options, which ranged in genre, from heavy metal to commercial TV jingles. They chose the current one to skew to older viewers. The current X-Men theme has become synonymous with the property, with it being used at the current MCU when mutants are being referred to, like in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness when Professor X appears. We heard it. And Kamala Khan, when they find out that she has a mutation, you also heard it in Ms. Marvel. Okay, the score was credited as X-Men 97 theme. However, and this is worth a Google on YouTube, alright? Though that's an iconic theme song, when the show hit Japan in the mid-90s, it had a completely different song. The song was called Rising by Ambience. It's an all-out rock song, and it had a completely different opening. And it looks really cool. It looks like an anime. Now, here's a fun piece of trivia. The zapping noise from Magneto's magnetic powers is the same as the sound of a cloaking device on the Klingon ship in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Now, Jean Grey and Cyclops were intended to be married in the second season, but Marvel had convinced the show to hold off until they could get married in the comics first. Now, I love drawing Sentinels, and the reason that Sentinels were used in the first season of the original series, to be honest, was to give the writers more freedom when it comes to the censors. It was so much easier to dismember a robot's arm than a human's arm. The producer of the X-Men animated series read comics for 30 years of X-Men, okay? Every single letter of the X-Men comics she read. However, the director of X-Men in the year 2000, Bryan Singer, instead of reading then the 40 years of comic books, just watched all the episodes of the animated series. Now, the voice of Magneto in the animated series, David Hamlin, was actually the first man to be offered the live-action role of Magneto, but he turned it down due to scheduling conflicts, which was unfortunate. However, good for us, the role went to Gandalf, Ian McKellen. However, one voice actor did make it to screen. The voice of Beast, George Buza, was in X-Men from the year 2000. He briefly played Trucker number 104. Now, the original animated series had two endings. The original ending had the team fight Apocalypse and was going to finish with the team disbanding. However, after that, the network ordered more episodes, so it continued for another full season. I think another 6 episodes. However, those new episodes kind of felt different. It felt cheaper, wasn't as good animation, because at that time Marvel was going through bankruptcy and the budget of the show was cut. So there are more facts, but here is the full line art of my Marvel 97 piece. What did you guys think? I had a lot of fun doing this line art. This is one of my favorite pieces so far. But now, let's get to the color as I give you a few facts about me putting this piece of artwork together. Now, I've always wanted to do a Sentinel drawing. To be honest, in this YouTube land, you always look for excuses to draw something. You want to make sure people actually watch it, okay? But I've always wanted to draw Sentinel. You guys know, big robots are my thing. And with the release of X-Men 97, gave me the perfect reason to do a giant Sentinel drawing. But not only that, X-Men #1, but drawn by Jim Lee, that was one of the greatest inspirations for me to become a comic book artist in general. And I've taken that comic and redrawn that comic so many times. That cover, that iconic cover, so many times. It made me who the artist I am today. Now, I mentioned before, you might notice that there are some characters here missing. from X-Men 97, for example. Spoiler alert, Madeline Pryor, the good Magneto, and I think I might draw him a little bit later on. Morph is not there, and the reason is because, you know, with these cartoon series, they only last so long. Like, even if it lasts for 5-6 years, I want this piece to live forever. And I want this not to be more of a tribute to X-Men 97 per se, but a love letter to the original Jim Lee 1992 comic book because of what that meant for me as an artist. So that's why I decided to leave those characters out, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to draw them a little bit later on. Now, the actual size that I drew this comic in was, this piece in, was 28 inches by 17 inches, so just a little bit bigger. I bought a little bit bigger board. I bought 17 by 14 size boards and taped 2 of them together, so it's slightly bigger. And finally, I used my classic Sakura Micron pens to draw this thing, and then I scanned the original line art, and all of the coloring was done in Photoshop. And usually I don't show my full color process, but in this piece here, today I decided to show you the whole thing, okay? So this is very rare, me actually showing you, me actually shading everything. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And finally, this piece took 24 hours in total over the course of about a little bit over a week, okay? The actual line art itself took roughly around 18 hours, and the colors took about 6 hours to complete. And there it is, X-Men 97, the most detailed drawing ever, according to me, but it's not really. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm just trying to find a way to make these videos a little bit more interesting for you so you can watch all the way through and enjoy the drawing process with me. And even if you're not into the drawing process, at least you learn some facts about the subject matter that I'm drawing. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And what other pieces do you want me to draw? As you can tell here, like I mentioned before, I'm more focused on getting really good pieces of artwork out, okay? I'm not really into the challenges anymore, and I didn't really want to do a 10-1-10. It's getting a little redundant to me now, so I just want to focus on getting really stellar pieces of art for you guys, and then show you my process, and then give you a little bit of knowledge as well. What did you think about this format of video? I am very curious to know. Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, to let you know, I am on tour this year, okay? As soon as dates become solid, I have a lot of plans, but as soon as dates become solid, I will let you know, so stay tuned so that you can meet me in person. I would love to meet all of you guys in person, okay? I will pin to the top also my next appearances as of this recording. If you are in that area, I would love to come and see you, okay? But here is the final, most detailed drawing ever of X-Men 97 in 24 hours. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do not forget to subscribe. In fact, before I show you this final piece of art, make sure you subscribe right now. I'm going to count you down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Subscribe, and here is the full piece. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best. My name is James. I am the box office artist. I'm here to take your drawing. I'll see you all. Take care.